We asked ChatGPT to write a podcast about why every brand should be using ChatGPT. And here's what they came up with. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Brand Out, the podcast all about branding. I'm your host, Tony Nash, a.k.a. the BrandFather. And today I am with our Director of Marketing, Mr. Casey Lambert. Welcome, man. Welcome back.
Excited to be back, man.
Yeah, we did one recently where I was in the other side and now we're kind of in different spots. So we'll have to see which one feels more natural.
It's musical podcast chairs.
Really, we want you to tell us who should be the host of this thing. I mean, we've had me, we've had Casey, we've had Beth, we've had Kaylee on, we've had Micah, we've had Dan. We got to see, who do you like? Who are the people that you like to see on here? But let us know in the comments on that. Today, we are going to talk about a brand that has taken the world by storm lately and that you should be using if you have a brand, and that is ChatGPT. So literally, we asked ChatGPT to write a podcast about this. So we are literally going to go along the format of what ChatGPT says we should do, because I think in this case, they know best. Casey, tell the audience what you think about ChatGPT.
Well, it's ChatGPT is the most intelligent artificial intelligence right now out there, right? For a second, we thought it was going to be IBM Watson. Thanks a lot, Jeopardy. But OpenAI really has kind of taken that to storm. So what do I actually think about ChatGPT? Yeah. I think it's essential for how we operate in business these days. And the people who know how to use it as a tool are far exceeding those who don't. So I think whether you are a fan or not a fan of ChatGPT, no matter what, you need to pay attention to how it's leading the market.
Well, some people say it's replacing creativity, right? It's like now nobody's thinking for themselves anymore. They just prompt. Mm-hmm. And Chat would say about itself, it's not replacing creativity, it's enhancing it. It's giving you the ability to take a creative thought that you have. Like, I have this idea, but I'm not quite sure how to put it into words, or I'm not quite sure how to execute it, or I'm not quite sure how to optimize it for search, or I'm not quite sure who to target it to. And that's where Chat will enhance your creativity, right? Mm-hmm. And so every idea or everything starts with an idea. And there's a lot of people that see something come out like, oh, I invented that 5 years ago, because you had the idea, but you didn't know how to make it. Mm-hmm. Somebody else came along and had the same idea, but knew how to make it. And I think where Chat steps in is when you have that good idea, Chat can help you take that thing to the next level and the next level and the next. So I think it's great. And so, right now, every brand is competing for attention, right? We talk about that all the time. So Chat really helps you get ahead in that. It helps you identify the right places. It helps you identify the right things to say. It helps you identify the right ideas. It helps you identify the right strategies, and it helps you get that attention. So let's talk about here's what Chat's telling us to talk about next. It's saying, let's talk about why ChatGPT matters most. So in terms of branding, before we get into what Chat says about itself, why do you think Chat matters for brands? Why should they be using it?
Right. And this is a really, really great question. There's multiple answers to what you just asked me. And as somebody who is working in a creative office, but isn't necessarily a creative themselves, I rely on data, statistics, and analytics to inform my decisions. However, at the same rate, I have to keep pace with the creativity of Beth, of Micah, of yourself. So it really helps me enhance my ability in something that I'm not so good at, right? I can have Chat process the data in the analytics for every single client that we manage social media for if I want. Do I want that? No, because I'm a numbers guy and I like paying attention to it. But if I get loaded up with 90 pictures from a content day and have to create captions for all of them, that's going to be a little bit of a stressor for me, right? Yeah. So I rely on ChatGPT to take the tone, the voice, the goal, the objective, and the accomplishment of the success of that piece of creative content. Yeah. And manage it to get people to do what I want them to do regarding the client. So in a way, what Chat's true power is for someone like me sitting in this marketing director seat is to be able to talk between creative and analytics and bridge the gap between the two of them.
Yeah.
And this tool is extremely powerful.
Well, and here's what most people don't understand. Most people that we talk to, and it's still amazing me. There's a lot of people like, yeah, I've heard of ChatGPT. I kind of played with it a little bit. I'm not really sure, but ChatGPT is really only as good as the prompt that you give it.
Yes.
And so there has to be some creativity in the way you prompt it. And ChatGPT is a learning software. It's literally, it's not the internet. This is what people don't know. It's not the internet. It's not a search engine. It's not Google.
It is the third highest used search engine now, though.
But it's literally a synthetic brain that a bunch of people smarter than us put together and programmed into it all the information ever. And when it's asked a question, that brain, just as our brain does, has synapses, and it's thinking in real time for a response, taking into account all the information ever. So that's crazy. So you have to learn how to prompt it. And the other thing is, it is still not 100% accurate. So there is a human element of having to make sure you check what it's saying, make sure you fact check if it gives you ideas and thoughts. But it does prompt those thoughts, and it does take that thing to the next level. We use it a ton here. We're going to get into all the ways we use it here. And people have said, oh, that's cheating. I completely disagree. I completely disagree. I think it's a new tool that you absolutely should be using if you own a business. If you have a brand, you should absolutely 100% without fail be using it. And we're going to tell you all the different ways. Chat gave us 10 ways a brand can use ChatGPT, but I wanted to give one example here of just how ChatGPT can make you, even if you feel like it doesn't make you smarter, it can certainly make you more efficient. It can take tasks that used to take hours or days or weeks and do it in seconds.
Yeah, and you know how much of a fan I am of efficiency. And as we continue to grow ourselves here as AZEE, it's essential for us to use that efficiency to increase our profit margin so that we can continue to service our clients in the level of which we do it.
So for instance, I had a customer that came to us. We were building a website for them, and they had a significant date happen on, I think it was like September 20th of 2020. And they said, I want you to put on my website a counter, a live counter that starts on September 20th, 2020 and counts up and is live. And I want it to count years, months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds since September 20th. And I want it to be this color, blah, blah, blah. Now, in previous years, to program the code for something like that would have taken somebody much smarter than me. It would have taken a programmer. It would have taken a lot of code and a lot of thinking. But with what I just described to you as a creative prompt into ChatGPT, I said, build for me, for my website, some HTML code that will do blah, blah, blah. And I said, use this color hex code, use this font, blah, blah, blah. And in 5 seconds, it spit out a bunch of code. I'm like, there's no way this is going to work.
And as somebody who used to program websites using hypertext markup language, like I know how long that takes.
Oh, yeah.
So to go from
or even to read it.
Yeah, to go from even an efficient web coder from back in the day when we used HTML mostly would take 30, 40 minutes just to write that. To go from that to 5 seconds is game changer.
This code would have taken much longer than 30, 40 minutes because it was extremely custom. And like I said, I thought there's absolutely no way this is going to work. I copy and pasted it into the HTML code of the website, and it worked absolutely perfectly. And that timer is still working today. It's incredible. And so that's one example of a way where, man, we took a task that we may have had to hire a freelance coder or developer, and it would cost a lot of money to the client, that we were able to do in just a few minutes, and it helped. Not to mention all the ways we use it here in our business to really deliver for our clients. And so Chat gives 10 ways that every brand should be using ChatGPT to stand out in 2025.
I'm interested in these.
Number one, content creation on demand, right? Blogs, captions, email scripts, done in minutes. Do we use it for blogs?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Do we use it for email scripts?
Yes, we do.
Do we use it for content creation? Do we use it for captions?
Yes.
So we will generate an idea for a blog. Like for me, I have great ideas, and I'm not a great writer. So I will write out an article of something that I'm passionate about, some sort of a brand, and I'll write, maybe 200-300 words of the article myself. But we know that Google wants at least 500 words to properly index a blog. And so I'll put it into chat, the article that I wrote, and say, could you make this a little bit more articulate, a little bit easier to understand? Use search engine keywords for our business, and it'll describe our business, or just pop our website in there. And in seconds, it pops out a beautifully written 500, 600, 700 word article that's easy to understand, it's easy to read, and that helps our website get attention. The same thing we do with captions and emails. There was a day where we had to actually stop managing social media. And I'm going to let you talk about this for a second because you're our social media grow guy here. And we couldn't offer that service for about 3 years because it became so difficult to come up with ideas, graphics, captions for a client. And now, because of ChatGPT and other AI software like Canva and these types of things, we have brought back this service in 2025, and our clients are seeing tremendous results. And we've been able to make it affordable for the client, number one, and we've been able to become very efficient and get results.
So talking around that point, there's a few things, and you have to beckon back to what you said earlier. AI is only as strong as the prompts that you put into it, right? It is very easy to tell, and sometimes you and I will even do this. We'll go through a company's social media, and we can immediately point and tell you which captions or posts were made by chat, because we use chat day in and day out, but also there's very few things like
giveaway is elevate.
Yeah, elevate, level up, like master class. Like these are things that constantly prompt an AI if you don't know your prompts. But when we're talking about managing multiple clients at the same time, we have to make informed decisions based off of the analytics and what we're being told. So we have to follow the trends. How many comments did this get? How many people shared this? How long did people stay tuned into the video? We have to take that to inform the decision of what people are wanting more of, right?
Yeah.
That's marketing 101. Well, what chat allows us to do for those companies is take those higher performing posts and replicate them on a grander scale. So I might be doing something for a barbecue company. Shout out to Johnny V's here, which I'm totally repping. Thanks for the gear, Kevin. But I might see something that really stands out that we want to replicate and use as an ad to touch 17 different markets.
Yep.
Well, I need to be able to address those individual markets' needs, wants, and excites, and do it in the tone of a barbecue joint that I don't own, that I'm not in every day.
Yeah.
So being able to replicate that makes it hyper efficient and would take a easy 40-hour week job and cut it down to 4 hours.
Right. And I think, you want to be original. You don't, like you said, we're representing a lot of different brands, but even like with emails, we make sure to respond to the email the way that we would normally respond. And then we ask chat, make this sound a little more professional, make sure I didn't forget any details. And so it's really an assistant, a tool. It learns your voice. It learns your personal voice. It learns your brand voice. And I would say it's not about being more creative than the next person at this point. It's really about learning how to properly prompt ChatGPT to get you the things that you want.
Exactly.
So content creation on demand was number one. Number two is social media strategy.
Yeah.
Okay. We use that all the time here. We have our content days once a quarter or sometimes twice a quarter. And, with a company like ours, you show the community all the services that we offer. You've taken all the pictures. You've done all the national holidays. And you've celebrated everyone's birthday. It's like, all right, now what?
Right. And there's
coming up with ideas is a hard part.
Yeah. So there's surface level social media. And we know because as what you said, we actually stopped doing social media as a service. We actually stopped doing social media as a service because we had to get past that surface level stuff. In order to do that, in most cases, you have to be part of that company to do so, right?
Correct.
I can't market a zoo if I'm not there every day seeing the animals and trying to capture like the perfect shot in video, right? Now we kind of consolidate our content days and then rely on our ability to get attention through the platforms in order to do so. So from a strategy standpoint, yes, that is something that you and I specifically as social media experts have trained and labored in. But for your normal, everyday, average, run-of-the-mill person who's probably running their own business, putting a shovel to the ground themselves or running a screw gun themselves, they don't have the acumen in which to do that.
Right.
They don't know how to analyze their incoming audience to really key it to what they're trying to get to.
Right.
So for that, yes, having chat assist you, and I stress on the assist you portion,
Yep.
to come up with a social media strategy can alleviate all of that time and add a creative element that most people don't have.
So agreed, 100%. Caption ideas, content calendars, content ideas. Even if you're doing a content day, what types of photos should I capture? Let me give you an example of an exact prompt that I have used here at AZEE Branding Solutions to help us get the social media results that we're getting, which are through the roof, honestly.
Yeah, we had an increase of nearly 823% over the first 3 months of the year, just because we took that more efficient and direct approach.
So I would go to ChatGPT and I would say, my company, AZEE Branding Solutions, and then I'll put in parentheses the website, because it will scan your website for you. We are a full service branding agency that offers these services, and I'll list them out. Let's say it is April of 2025, and we are looking to promote our Grow social media management packages. And we would like to have social media content that will attract the right people and will get us the right attention, and that will be effective. So come up with me for ideas for the next 3 months with captions, with blah, blah, blah. So you see, that is a very specific prompt. It's not just give me 100 social media ideas. It's the name of the company, the services, what we do, what our objective is, what time of year it is, who we're looking for. And sometimes my prompt is multiple paragraphs long. But then, because it has all the information, it can spit out a very specific thing tailored to AZEE Branding Solutions. Not just tailored to anybody who's doing social media, but tailored to AZEE Branding Solutions in Owasso, Michigan, or targeting to Grand Blanc, Michigan, or wherever I'm trying to go.
Syracuse, New York.
It gets very specific. And so if your prompt is just give me 10 ideas or write 5 captions, you're going to be unhappy with the results. But if you learn how to get specific with it, explain it to chat like you would explain it to a child. That's a good thing to remember. And then allow chat to really come alive. And then go through it and edit and use your own brain to kind of make it your own.
Right.
But that's kind of an example of how we do it. So caption ideas, A/B testing, all of these different things are things we use social media for. So content creation, social media strategy. The third thing is ad copywriting. So Casey, you run all of our ads here.
Right.
Why don't you give our audience an example of what would be a prompt if you were creating an ad, say for a car dealership that we work with? What would be an example of a prompt you might give ChatGPT?
So it always goes back to, I like to say this, dependent upon your skills is the way you can use ChatGPT. So when it comes to ad copywriting, you know me, Tony. I'm a very skilled writer. What I'm not good at is creative or ad creative.
Like Bill Shakespeare.
Luckily, we have excellent ad creative people here. So I lean on that ad creative to inspire what we do for copywriting.
Yeah.
Once I get that in my brain, the next step is who do I want to target to and what do I want them to do? So your typical ad men and ad women from the 60s on up to as
Don
recently
Draper.
as the 1990s. Yeah, we think of Mad Men in this situation, but they would go around a boardroom and discuss this and discuss this and discuss this with the client and come up with 14, 15, 16, 17 different ideas and then try to mold that around, do revisions and get to it. Well, with chat, one of the typical things that I would do is take the ad creative, take the market, take the action, mold those all together. And like you said, sometimes 2-3 paragraph long explanation and get it to spit me out ad copywriting that I know will accomplish what I want it to accomplish. So now we have that really boss hand creative piece for the ad. We add in that really, really engaging and hard hitting, right on bullseye ad copy, put those together and watch it work.
And so in terms of the actual prompt, would you tell it what client it's for, their location? Would you tell it time of the year? Would you tell it what platform you're trying to run an ad on? right? You're going to get super specific with all those
Oh yeah,
details
for sure.
because the way you might copy it or write ad copy on a Facebook ad versus a Google ad or versus a Twitter ad or whatever, it's going to be different. And so again, yes, it's a great tool, but it's really limited by the person who's prompting it. And so the more specific you get, the better. And I want to keep moving. I know we could spend a lot more time talking on that.
Oh, we
gotta,
could.
We got to get so ad copy. The next thing it says is creative brainstorming partner, right? So like we have planning meetings here with the team, and sometimes we kind of beat our heads against the wall trying to come up with ideas. But now you have this tool where again you prompted to say, help us come up with ideas for a new product that we want to launch, or for a new business idea that we have, or for a new social media campaign, or a new website we want to build. And so now it's like you have another person smarter than everyone at the table, really, brainstorming with you.
Yes.
Brainstorming with you. And so, I mean, is that something here at AZEE? I mean, maybe give the audience a little example of how we use chat to help us brainstorm.
Right. Great point right there, Tony. We have our normal leadership meetings, and that is pretty scheduled out. That's, pretty run of the mill. We take care of that. But the biggest thing I think it helps us for is we do content planning days, and we have to do that in order to stay on track. Otherwise things get massively discombobulated. Something we might try this way, and they never talk to each other. Well, allowing chat to help us brainstorm ideas really opens it up from we need something to do this to, hey, here's some ideas to kind of launch our creatives out on something. And now we let them take the reins and come back, and how do we relate it back to AZEE? Yeah. So it's really helped us in that aspect.
So I want to get through the rest of these because I know we're getting down on time here. Dan, we're about 20 minutes right now. He's going to get us the time there. I want to make sure we're timely because I want this to be a valuable thing for you guys. We like to do these as we call a commuter podcast. So 30 minutes or less if we can. But, some of these we've already covered in our discussion. So customer service and email responses to make sure that we're saying things the right way with the right tone. Sometimes I'll even say, I'll put our core values. Write this response exhibiting these core values: gratitude, kindness, integrity, creativity, collaboration. And so now it's writing it in the tone of what I want to convey to my customers. And could I do that on my own? Probably, but this isn't a tool that's giving me more efficiency. Market research and competitor analysis.
I use that all the time.
Casey uses this all the time. You can take a company's analytics, you can take their website, you can take a report that you might have and tell chat, look at these reports. You can upload a PDF, you can upload a hyperlink and say, take a look at these things and tell me anything that stands out to you, or how these two compare. What are some areas of opportunity? Do a SWOT analysis. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their opportunities? What are their threats? Number 8 is internal comms and systems. Man, our employee handbook. Dan was able, something we talked about for years, he was able to put together an employee handbook, taking all the things we had talked about for years and actually put it into chat and write out an employee handbook. Contracts. I just did an NDA. I did it in 5 minutes for the client. Internal documents, our orientation documents. It helps us create those things immediately. And we'll say, I'm writing, let's say a document for a new hire. Factor in all of the employee and labor laws in the state of Michigan to make sure I cover all the bases, right? So instead of me having to go do all that research, we have this tool that's actually doing the research for me and allows those internal comms, those SOPs, those onboarding guides, all of those things, team communications, all of those things. This is one you and I have used a lot: proposals and presentation folders, right? That's what chat says is number 9. When we're putting together a proposal, one of the most worrisome things as a business is when I send out a proposal to a customer with a price on it, do they get that sticker shock? And is there enough information to explain what they're getting for that price, right? And so, again, using this tool for something like that is a big deal. And then the last one, which I thought was funny, is podcast and video scripts. Right? And that's what we're doing here. It created a podcast script. There's been so many times where a customer comes to us, they need a video. They have this idea. But it used to take us a day or two to write a script. Dan, who's behind the camera, could attest, like sometimes we would rack our brains over a 30-second TV commercial, turning this idea into a script. And now using this tool is a big help. So
well, it's in terms of that, like you and I give presentations all the time to a litany of different types of audiences, right? Whether it be high school kids, entrepreneurs, manufacturing moguls. So when we give these presentations, allowing chat to help us outline it really allows you and I.
The guy today could have used some help outlining his presentation. Right?
Yeah. But here's the thing, like you and I are showmen, right?
Yeah.
We know a lot, enough to be dangerous in a lot of different subjects, but having that outline back to reference and again, keep us on time is huge. So yes, I use chat all the time to help me plan out presentations.
Well, and it's just like you said earlier, it doesn't replace creativity, it enhances it. And so, you know, you might be a person listening and you have all these great ideas. You don't know how to get them out. You don't know how to do it in a way that, like, somebody asks you to come speak for 5 minutes. How do I get out all I want to say in 5 minutes? And again, you tell chat, here's the things I want to cover. Give me a script for 5 minutes, or give me bullet points or whatever. I mean, there's an endless amount of ways that you can use it. And so to recap here, the top 10 ways every brand should be using ChatGPT: content creation on demand, social media strategy, ad copywriting, creative brainstorming partner, SEO and keyword optimization, customer service and email response, market research and competitor analysis, internal comms and systems, proposal and presentation builder, and podcast and video scripts. And what I think is absolutely cool is I literally just said to chat right at a podcast, we do all of those things. We do all of those things. And we could say wholeheartedly, it has changed the game for our business. So Casey, before we go into the last part here about some myths and misconceptions, I want you to give our audience just a little bit of an appeal of how much, I mean, you've worked in, like you said, cybersecurity. You've worked in marketing for a long time. You've been a turntable DJ for years, where you had to manage your own social media presence and your own marketing. And marketing is at the heart of what you do in all your things. You're a good marketer. How has ChatGPT, and really AI in general, how has it completely changed the game in your world?
It's efficiency. I can put it down to literally one word, Tony, and it's efficiency, right? When you are operating as an entity, and whether that be a company, a single person, a team, all of that, consider that when you say entity, you're always going to have holes and things that you aren't good at. And in the past, we would just either hire somebody to take care of those holes, or we'd put our heads down and push through those holes, right? But that wasn't efficient. Now we have this tool that addresses the gaps that we're not good at and enhances the things that we are good at. That tool, ChatGPT, has highly efficientized us as a creative agency. That's where the true power lies.
Absolutely. So if you're watching and you maybe are still on the fence about ChatGPT,
you're doing great.
ChatGPT. If you're still on the fence about it, or maybe you're using it, but you don't feel like it's giving you the results that you want, I would encourage you to, number one, get more creative with the response or the prompts. Give it more information. Use it more often. The more you use it, the smarter it gets, the more it gets to know you. Tell it all about your business. Honestly, have a conversation with it. I know that seems weird, but literally, hi, chat. My name is Tony Nash. I'm the owner of AZEE Branding Solutions, and I blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to do this. Can you help me? And it will ask you questions. Should you do this? Do you want to do this? Who's your target customer? And just start having a conversation with it, and you will learn so much just in that. It's not an intimidating software. You don't have to have any kind of a computer literacy even to use it. There's an app on the phone. You can go to the web browser and type OpenAI or ChatGPT, and literally it's free. There's a paid version, which we use because it has a lot more options, but it's just a text window, and you just start typing and you start asking its questions. So start using it today. If you're a brand that's still not using ChatGPT, you're really, really missing out. And so a couple of chat told us to talk about some myths and misconceptions. One is, this is what they hear a lot: it's not creative. And their response is wrong. It's as creative as the prompt you feed it. We've talked about that.
100% accurate.
It's as creative as the prompt you feed it. Number two, it'll replace us. AI's taking over. Haven't you seen iRobot? What's going to happen when they start putting this AI into robots and humanoids start taking over the world? Listen, I've seen enough sci-fi movies. That could happen, but that's not ChatGPT. I hope it doesn't happen.
Well, to talk on that point, though, like, chat will replace lazy people.
There you go.
Those high achievers. And listen, if you're a lazy person, shaking your boots, man.
You should be worried.
Shaking your boots right
worried.
now, because no longer are you going to be able to skate by. You need to use the tool to rise above the challenge.
Yeah. So chat's response to that was no, it elevates us. There's that word elevated.
Oh, perfect.
Right? It elevates us.
Takes us next level.
And, we've talked about it here in the office. Could AI replace some of the things that we do? Could it replace graphic designers? Could it replace video editors? Could it replace web designers? And my response is always this: it's only going to replace the ones who don't adapt.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the lazy ones. But if you find a way to utilize this new tool, I remember when Photoshop came out, people were like, oh, that's cheating. That's not art. But it's a tool that everybody uses now, Adobe. And this is just another tool. You can't, it's not the end all, but it's an incredible tool. And in my lifetime, the best tool that we found to help us be more efficient. And then the last thing is, it sounds robotic. And the response is only if you don't refine your prompts. Like, I don't know that I've ever gotten a robotic response, but my prompts are very detailed.
Well,
so
Tony, I don't know if you know this, but I actually am, in fact, an android. So I'm about as robotic as it gets. However, just like chat says, it's contingent upon the prompt you put in. Little hack right here. You can adjust the tone of chat's responses to things by feeding it the type of tone that you want. 100%. And then you can refine after it gives you the spit out. I call it the spit out, whatever it gives, the response. You can refine that individually. And here's the thing. Your chat account will save all of this information. It knows about you or your company or your tone or the 17 different companies that you're managing, and remember those tones, or as we like to call them, brand voices, and use them again in the future. So yes, if you hear elevate, next level, masterclass, that is typically a lazy input prompt to ChatGPT. Yeah. Therefore, it sounds robotic. Therefore, the public who is now trained to see these things, read these things, listen to these things, is going to be very quick to go, they just wrote that with AI.
Right. And I purpose, again, when some of those keywords come into one of my responses, I'll just take them out. I'll change it. Very rarely have I ever just copy and pasted chat's response. It's always further edited by me, the human, by me, the originator of the thought. And I think you should do that as well. If you're just copying and pasting, there will be some benefit to that, but
it's going to be, tell.
It's lazy, right?
Yes.
It's lazy. And so at the end of the day, your brand voice matters. And if you don't know what your brand voice is, I encourage you to reach out to us. Send us a message. If you're local, set up an appointment. We'd love to talk to you about what a brand voice is and how it matters, but it's even something you could use ChatGPT to help you figure out. It will help you develop it. It will help you turn it into something that you can scale and foster and really get to understand. And then, I think the brands that learn to use this tool are going to dominate their industry. The brands that learn how to use this tool are going to dominate. And so get on board. The longer you wait, the more behind you are behind one of your competitors. And so don't be intimidated by it. Don't be scared of it. Again, I'm always cautiously optimistic about any kind of, AI, right? But if you see it as a tool and use it creatively, you will dominate your industry. So Casey, let's wrap this thing up. Anything else you want to add to this as far as ChatGPT? I mean, we should get some sort of a royalty from ChatGPT for really pushing it here, but it's something that we love and that we use every day. But do you have anything you want to add to it before we go?
It just to synopsize it, if that's even a word. I don't know. Maybe we can ask ChatGPT.
I will while you're talking.
But in order to kind of tie it all together, right? ChatGPT is a tool, right? OpenAI has developed multiple artificial intelligence platforms for us to use. DALL-E's another good one for imagery, but Chat is really the one that kind of consolidates everything. And just to reflect on what we've said this whole podcast, the general misconception is like AI can be too robotic, but really, if you're a business, if you're a person doing anything in a business, there is something in ChatGPT that will assist you in getting better at your job, becoming more efficient, and therefore more of a valuable employee to your employer, or if you're a business, more of a valuable service product to your customer. So ChatGPT is something that you absolutely have to use in order to accomplish your growth in the future. That's essentially what I'm saying. That's my final thought. Let's go with it.
So synopsize is a word.
Ha-ha!
You used it properly in a sentence. So thank you, ChatGPT.
I told you, I'm an Android.
So what I'm doing right now is I am prompting in the chat where I made this episode saying, chat, I'm about to finish the podcast. Give me the perfect sign off to this episode. I'm going to send that. And here's how we're going to sign off today. At the end of the day, branding is about clarity, consistency, and creativity. Okay, let me start that over. At the end of the day, branding is about, this is my first time reading it, okay? So don't judge me. All right. At the end of the day, branding is about clarity, consistency, and creativity. And ChatGPT helps you bring all three to the table faster than ever before. Whether you're a startup trying to find your voice or an established brand looking to scale, AI isn't replacing you, it's empowering you. So if you want to stand out, or as we say, brand out, it's time to brand out. I got ahead of it. It included in there for you. So if you want to stand out, it's time to brand out. We'll see you next time.
If you enjoyed this content, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We want to connect with you. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let us know what brands you want us to break down next. Follow us on social media for more branding insights, and remember, keep building, keep branding, and always brand out.